Hello! Today's lesson is on mixed numbers and improper fractions. It's 5.6 out of our book. Let's go ahead and get started. We're talking about mixed numbers and improper fractions, so we need to figure out what is a mixed number. Well, if we look up here, we have a mixed number is when you have a whole number and a fraction together. That we have an example over here, 1 3/4. We have the whole number, that's the 1, and we have the fraction, the 3/4. Whenever you have a whole number and a fraction together, we call it a mixed number. So 1 3/4 is a mixed number. So then on to what's an improper fraction. That's also sometimes known as a top-heavy fraction. It's when the numerator, the top number, is larger than the denominator, the bottom number. So when we have a fraction like this, where we have 28/6, this number on top is bigger than the number on bottom. That's called an improper fraction. So top-heavy fraction, improper fraction, same thing. So when do we use them? The biggest instance in where we use mixed numbers is in, you guessed it, measurement. Oftentimes, measurement. There we go. Oftentimes when we measure things, they don't come out in whole numbers. So we have a whole number mixed with fractions, whether we're baking and it calls for 3½ cups of flour, or it might be the length of a piece of wood and you might need 6 5/8 inches of something. So measurement, we have a lot of mixed numbers. So how about improper fractions? When do we use improper fractions? Well, we don't use it a whole lot in everyday conversation, but we do use it a lot in math when we compare fractions. So whenever we need to compare fractions or compare specifically mixed fractions, mixed numbers I mean, we need to use improper fractions in order to compare them properly. But you never hear somebody say, like in baking, that they need 5/3 cup of sugar. They would just say 1 2/3 cup. So improper fractions we don't use in our everyday conversation. That's when we use mixed numbers, but we do use them to compare. So let's keep going. Let's go ahead and measure this line. I'll get my ruler out here, and when we measure, we want to look at what we have going on. We've got inches going on here. Our line, look at that, it just magically lines up with the start of it. So 0, we've got a full inch. Here's a second full inch, not quite 3. So we have 2 whole inches. And then we need to look, oh man, what do these little lines mean? Well, I know this middle one here means 1/2. And these second biggest ones are 1/4. So we've got 4 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next ones down are eighths. I think that's where I'm going to need to go. I've got 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8 is what it looks like to me. So 2 5/8 of an inch is how long that line is. All right, so good job. Let's go ahead and get rid of that line. Let's keep moving on. So how do we go ahead and change a mixed number to an improper fraction? So for example, we've got 5 3/4, so that is a mixed number. I've got a whole number and a fraction. How do I go ahead and change that to an improper fraction? Well, here are my steps. The first thing I want to do is multiply this whole number times the denominator. Remember, the denominator is the bottom number. So I'm going to take 5 times 4 and get 20. Then, once I got my product here, I want to take the product and add it to the numerator. The numerator is the top number. So I'm going to take 20 and add it to 3, and so then I get 23. And so this last one, this sum, this number right here, this 23, is now my new numerator. So that's my top number. And my bottom number is going to stay the same. It was a 4. It's going to stay a 4. So 23/4 is the improper fraction that's equal to 5 3/4. So again, these are equivalent fractions, just like when we talked earlier about, I think I told you that at school I'm Mrs. Sorby, at home I'm Mom, with my friends I'm Christy. It's still the same me. It's not a different person. I'm just calling it something different. Same thing here with mixed numbers and improper fractions. These are equivalent. I still have the exact same amount. I'm just changing what it looks like. So let's keep moving. We're going to try some on our own here. So what was my first step in changing a mixed number to an improper fraction? Yep, I need to take the whole number times the bottom number. So I'm going to take 3 times 7, and I get 21. Then I need to take 21 and add it to the top number. So 21 plus 4 now equals 25. And the 25 is going to become my top number, and my denominator is going to stay the same. So 25 sevenths is what 3 and 4 sevenths is equal to. So let's do it again. What's my first step? Yep, 10 times 8 is what I want to do. 10 times 8 is 80. Now I need to take this product and add it to the top. So 80 plus 5 gives me 85. That becomes my new top number. My bottom number stays the same. So 85 eighths is what we're going to say is equal to 10 and 5 eighths. You try number 3 on your own, and we'll check it in class tomorrow. So 4 and 2/3, go ahead and switch it to an improper fraction. So now we need to figure out how to go backwards. Sometimes we're given an improper fraction and we need to change it back to a mixed number. So this is where we need to divide. How many times can 3 go into 16 without going over? We want the maximum amount of times that 3 can go into 16 without going over. Well, let's think about it. 3 times 1 is 3, times 2 is 6, times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. That's as close as I can get to 16 without going over. So that's when we say 16 divided by 3 is 5. So this becomes the whole number part of our mixed fraction. 3 can go in there 5 times, we said, without going over. And then what would be my remainder? When I take 3 out of 16 5 times, I have 1 left over, right? Because that would have been 15. 16 minus 15 is 1. That remainder, this 1, now becomes the numerator part of our fraction, and my denominator stays the same. So 16 thirds is equal to 5 and 1/3. So this can go in there 5 times. What do I have left over that I haven't used? 1. That becomes my numerator, and my denominator stays the same. All right, so let's practice this a little bit. How many times can 8 fit into 22? Well, I know that 2 times 8 is 16, and 3 times 8 is 24. So 3 is too many. So I'm going to go 2 as my whole number. So when I've used up 16 out of the 22, how many are left that I have not used? Well, 22 minus 16 gives us 6. Our denominator stays the same. Now here I hope you realize 6 eighths, that's not in simplest form, is it? No, so let's go ahead and reduce that down. Our 2 is going to stay the same because we can't reduce that. But both 6 and 8 are divisible by 2, you guessed it. So when we divide both of them by 2, we end up with 3/4, right? So 2 and 3/4 is what we want. So how about this one? Well, we got some weird numbers going on here. 34/13. How many times can 13 go into 34? Well, 13 times 2 is 26, times 3 is 39, so not quite 3 times. I'm going to go 2 again. So 2 times 13 was 26. What do I get when I have 34 minus 26? Well, 14 minus 6 is 8. There we go. So I'm going to have 2 and 8/13. Whew! You guys go ahead and try this third one on your own. It's kind of ugly, but I'm pretty sure you can do it. You guys are all very smart. So we'll check it in class tomorrow. But go ahead and try and turn 51/12 into a mixed number. That's all I have for you. We're done with 5.6. Go ahead and have a good night and come prepared with questions tomorrow.